Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon's Stuff. And today we're taking a look at this little fixed blade. This is the Knives Ranch Slick Skinner. Kind of a cool little knife. I've actually carried this a lot. I've had this knife since August of 2022. I bought it at a gun show. And yeah, kind of an interesting little piece. Let's talk a little bit about Knives Ranch real quick before we get into the rest of the video. So this is these knives are made in Pakistan. If you look up Knives Ranch on, Amazon or Google or whatever, the first thing that pops up is like they have a base in Texas, but all the knives are made in Pakistan. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. But yeah, so Pakistan-made knives, they got a lot of stuff. They kind of go for a traditional kind of cowboy aesthetic, and there they are. I do want to read this one thing that I found on their website that I thought was kind of funny. Knives Ranch is establishing its nationwide presence. The fine quality of our knives doesn't rip your pockets off. So, it'd be amazing if they made like folding knives with pocket clips, and then that would be part of their marketing technique, Our pocket clips don't rip your pockets off. But this is the important part. Our manufacturing facility is based in Pakistan, where all processes of knife manufacturing are performed in-house under the sole discretion of Knives Ranch Incorporated. We do not procure any third-party merchandise. So, Pakistan, not USA, in case there's any confusion. Okay, now let's go ahead and get this review started. Let's take a blade length measurement. If we go all the way back to the handle, we're coming in over 3 inches. If we just measure the sharpened edge, we are under 3 inches, well under 3 inches. So, I guess if you want to carry with one of these and you're worried about legality, I guess it just depends on where the cop decides to measure at. Okay, let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. So Rat 2, the Rat 1. So yeah, a pretty small fixed blade. And I don't think we're going to compare against all of the normal size comparisons. Let's actually compare against, since I've got it laying right here, it's a Cold Steel American Lawman, and we'll compare it against the Cold Steel Mini Tack. There we go. I think that's all size comparisons we really need. You know what? Actually, maybe we'll do our benchmade bug out on our PM2, and then we'll call it quits. So, bug out, PM2, ta-da! All right, let's talk about the materials. So, we have a kind of a Nessmuck blade, honestly, and it is Damascus. Their Damascus, okay, let's talk about this. When I was at the show that I bought this knife from, they had, representatives from the company there, and I asked them what their Damascus was made out of. And the guy that was there said it was 15N20, and I can't remember the carbon steel he said. Maybe it was 56. I don't know. I can't remember what it was, but he said that 15N20 was a stainless. So I looked up on their site, and it looks like most of their knives are actually made with, I'm not sure if this is pronounced ICI. I'm just going to call it AISI 5160 and ASSI 4340. However, they do also offer you can request different steel types. Let me read off their site again. Yeah, so there's the steel types they use. You have 224 layers of steel. And where's the page I'm looking for? I've got my computer out right here on my lap looking at this thing. Yeah, there we go. They also offer knives in a bunch of different steels. I'll link their website below, but you can get knives in D2, M2, all kinds of, and there's 65 NM, 51 200. They've got a bunch of different stuff. Their customization for their Damascus steels, you can get AISI 1075, 1084, 1095, 5160, the 65 MN, geez, I can't speak today, that I was talking about earlier, 51 200. And then for your nickel steels, you can get the 4340 that they normally use, or 15N20, so maybe that's what the gentleman I was talking about, and L6 tool steel. Again, I will link, I'll link their website down below so you can go and look at that stuff yourself. I'm willing to bet that this one is just made in their standard stuff. They also heat treat to 56 HRC or higher, so not very hard. We will talk about that. But yeah. So the handles on this guy, wood. I'm not sure exactly what wood. And then we have, I'm pretty sure it's just a darker wood. Liners there with the Damascus. Sheath is leather. It's actually really nice leather. It's got that good leathery smell. Nice and thick, and yeah, pretty good stuff. So let's go ahead and go to the cutting footage. I have been on a roll today with review cutting, guys, which is good because I need to schedule out as much content as I possibly can because busy. Okay, so today we're going to be doing some cutting with this Knives Ranch Skinner. I can't remember exactly what the name is. And yeah, seeing what I think. So, let's start off with the ergos. Actually very comfortable. This is the reason I chose this knife. At the gun show where I bought it, they had a bunch of them out on a table. I walked through and I kind of picked up each one individually and held them. And this one just felt the best to me, so that's what I went with. We do have nicely contoured scales, and yeah, feels good in hand. So I like that a lot. Nothing to talk about in terms of the action, so let's go ahead and go on to the carry. Comes with this really nice little leather sheath. I think it works pretty nice. I've carried this knife a lot, all over the place, and I like it. I really, really do. So, there's that. Wow, fixed blade reviews go fast. Let's go ahead and get some cutting done. Whoops. Yeah, cuts nicely when you don't slide out. The blade is Damascus. We'll talk about that more at the table. Okay. See how it does on the rope? I think it'll do pretty good, not gonna lie. Yep. Did really nice. No complaints there. Grab the pool noodle. Yeah, we should have enough blade. We'll see. Yep, caught the choil. All right. That actually felt really good going through there. I had to be a little bit slow because I didn't have a whole lot of edge to work with. But you know what? That felt really nice. It really did. So, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go ahead and get back to the table. I have never had that happen. Wow, that did like a somersault. Okay. Let's go again. Does not have the pierciest tip. All right, we're back. So let's get into what I'm liking and not liking about this knife. First of all, I chose this knife for a reason. I was there at the gun show with a buddy of mine. I saw their table, and they just had some pretty cool looking stuff. And this was around the time that I was wanting to make a video about EDCing fixed blades and things. And so I went ahead and scooped this up. Pretty... Well, okay, let's talk about the reasons why I chose this one. They had a bunch of stuff there on the table, a bunch of really cool things. I chose this one because I liked the size, and I liked the ergonomics. It felt really, really nice in my hand. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a... I think it's an okay looking knife. I've had a lot of people tell me it's ugly, but you know, everyone has their own personal taste, right? Yeah, so let's just go ahead and let's talk about the ergonomics. I do enjoy the ergonomics. It's, you know, a pretty wide handle, which helps it fill your hand very nicely. Sits in there really good. I like the curve, you know, pretty neutral. Kind of points the blade where you want to go. And yeah, it just works out really, really nicely ergonomically. Next thing, the blade. I do like this blade. This worked out as a pretty nice blade shape for EDC. We do have a hollow grind on here. It's not super deep, but it is a hollow grind. Just a nice blade shape for an EDC fixed blade. Your tip is low enough you can get to your utility cuts. We've got plenty of belly here for some slicing, do some rocking cuts, things like that. It just worked out pretty nice, you know, pretty small. It's a relatively unthreatening knife. While I carried it, you know, I didn't really get any weird looks. Check out my I EDC'd fixed blades for 2 weeks video. I talk about that a little bit more in there. But yeah, very useful, good size. I enjoyed using it. It's full tang, love to see that. And I do like that it is an actual Damascus. I do think the pattern looks really, really nice. Kind of wavy and stuff. You can see it continues on the spine, so it is actual Damascus. And yeah, I think it looks really good. I like the wood. I like the little darker reddish brown liners on the inside. And it feels very, very sturdy. I also like the sheath a lot. Excuse me, got the hiccups. Like I said, it's very, very nice leather. Smells great. I think it just looks fantastic. I carried this, you know, as an EDC knife, just, you know, regular day to day. I also wore it to a couple of special events, you know, where I was dressed up a little bit and it fit right in. So it's a good looking little package. The stitch work is done very nicely. It's just a very solid feeling sheath. And I like it. I like it a lot. Yes, this is the only way you can carry the knife, but it's a small knife. I don't really think that it didn't bother me a whole lot. And actually, I mean, if you really want to, you could put other knives in this sheath. It's not custom made for this knife, and I actually did carry a couple other knives in here for a little bit. But yeah, just a really, really nice sheath. Next thing, the price. This wasn't super expensive. I got this for, I think it was $55 at the show. You know what? For an EDC fixed blade, I think that's all right. I definitely did not have any complaints there. It's worked pretty well for me. All right, let's go ahead and get into the dislikes. Number one, the fit and finish has a couple of little issues. We can see here. Focus up, camera. Don't focus on the sheath. Focus here. Yeah, the lanyard hole is not exactly punched out completely. What's the word I'm looking for? Completely nicely. There's some completely nicely. Oh my gosh, can't speak. But you guys know what I mean. Also, these pins have different colors. I'm not sure if this is on purpose or not, but you can see in the center of the little pins, that one's black, that one's brown. Same on the other side. Maybe it was on purpose. I don't know. I think it just looks a little bit goofy. But there it is. Also, I do wish that these were like Torx bits, so I could like maybe swap out the scales if I needed to. Not a huge deal, but you know, just want to point out. Sharpening choil, they did absolutely miss. I don't really like their big old branding right there on the blade or on the sheath. Yeah. It's also a little bit weird. They have ranch spelled backwards. Knives ranch. Don't know why, but they do, so there we go. And Next thing, let's talk about that 56 HRC hardness. Yeah, this did not hold an edge very well at all. And I have not done a complete reprofiling or sharpening on this, but I've been honing it. I say stropping a lot on the channel. I'm like, oh, just been stropping it up. What I really mean to say most of the time is honing. And so I use this system here, this Lansky system. We've got some coarser rods, some finer rods. And so that's how I've been keeping this knife, kind of going, is just honing it up a little bit on that. And the steel is soft enough that it, does not take a whole lot of work. But yeah, the edge retention is definitely not great. This knife goes dull pretty quickly. Quickly enough that it was kind of annoying, honestly. So, yeah. The other thing, too, my buddy that I was at the gun show with, he bought one of their knives, a folder, actually. And it went dull on him pretty quick. And so we were trying to sharpen it up, and I'll tell you what, that knife was not sharp. That knife was very, very soft. This thing is probably HRC 57, 58. His was probably HRC like 54, 55. When you're sharpening a knife that's not hard enough, how mushy the edge just kind of feels. How instead of you get that nice kind of crisp, you can feel yourself removing steel. You just kind of get that like you got a burr that's not forming a wire edge. It's just forming little mushy stuff that's just moving back and forth. Yeah, that was his knife. It was very difficult to sharpen. So yeah, not the highest quality steel, that is for sure. Next thing. When I was at the gun show, talking to the guys at the booth, they were making it seem like they were a USA company, and, wow, I need to dust my desk. All these rocks. Who would have thought all these rocks make a lot of dust on my desk? Wonders never cease. But, yeah, so they were kind of making it out to seem like they were a USA-made company, which they're not, and their site is open about that, but that's always just a little bit weird when you're talking to the guys there in person. I knew you guys aren't USA made, you guys aren't based in the USA, but they're kind of trying to make it seem like they were. Maybe it's just those two guys at that particular show. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to my final conclusions. And my final conclusions are that this is an absolutely fine EDC fixed blade. I like the design a lot. I like the sheath. The build quality is actually good for, the price you're paying, and you are getting real Damascus, which is a plus. The negatives, obviously, the performance isn't really, not only is it not anything special, it's actually quite a bit worse than average. So yeah, you are going to be maintaining this edge a lot. However, I carry this knife a lot. I do enjoy this knife. I will probably buy something else from Knives Ranch in the future. I think they're cool. If they were charging, a lot of money for these, I would be a lot harsher. But I do think they're charging a reasonable price. There is a lot of it's real Damascus. They've got good leather sheaths. They are really trying to make good knives. So, if you ever want to give them a shot, I would recommend them. Maybe as gift knives, these would be even better. But yeah, is it amazing? I wouldn't say it's amazing. Is it good? Yeah, absolutely. So does it get a recommendation from me? Yeah, if you're already interested, I would recommend, trying out Knives Ranch. But I'm not going to tell you that you need to, oh my goodness, run out and buy a Knives Ranch knife immediately because, they're so dang good. They're just kind of neat. And this style, this aesthetic they're going for, this kind of appeals to me in a lot of ways. So that's why I have one. And that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, leave it a like, comment below, and subscribe. I've been Gideon. I hope you have a great day. Adios.